take a look. All right, so coming back as I was just talking about here on our days, right? This is where I left off at. So 2-1-2 back down on the day on the diamonds. Okay. Uh, on the high today, about 422.77. I'm just kind of eyeballing it, but I'm getting really close there. All right, so 422.27 on your diamonds if you want to get back up inside. All right. Now, here is your 60s for the day. Okay. This was the two up. Okay. And everything just fell apart. And they tried to get rally. They tried to rally. They failed. They tried to rally. They failed. All right. So every time, boom, they tried to get it going. They kept sputtering out. This one was the 2-1-2. That was probably the best break of the day that came back down. And immediately they were fighting right back anyhow. All right. So real choppy. When you look at it on a 30-minute chart, I could shut down that overnight. And then you can kind of see how choppy we really were. All right, so that's your move down on the 60s, and that's how it filters down on the 30s. It was the 2-2 down, but it hammered all the way back up again. All right, so if you notice the one thing that's in here, very little actionable signals on the inside and not really giving us any guidance at all. This comes back in and gives us the 2 back inside, but it had a trigger here with the 2, which made it difficult for us to try to find something. All right, so we look for that. We look for that tube that's breaking back down coming off the 1. We didn't get that today, so it was just choppy all day here. All right. We'll turn that off here. So that was our diamonds today, right? And again, I'll go back to the SPY, and the SPY much better. I should say not much better at all, but better because it was stayed inside day. Okay, so that's the first things there. All right, we are stuck inside with the 2-1 stuck inside. All right, here was your 60s on the day. This 60 that started the day, brutal. All right, we were stuck inside there. We were stuck inside there for a while before we got out. All right, it took the second 30 for us to break, but if you look on the 30-minute, it kind of it cracked it a little bit, then it came right back inside. So just choppy. All right, that's all I can say. This is a mess. We don't look for this. We like for things that go like this. Okay, and we like the things that go like this back down. All right, so we don't look for things that are doing this. We stay away from that kind of stuff. All right, and when you're and I say to people all the time, just don't even trade anything that's inside day. It's just too difficult for you to try to pick up anything on an inside day. All right, and then we'll go to the Qs. Again, you know, I'm talking to people that are new to this and are trying to get involved and trying to learn some things about, financials. And 30 years I've been in the business, so I was a broker for most of my career. But as times changed, I ended up meeting up with an old friend named Rob Smith and followed him into this office that I've been in now for over almost 4 years now. Okay, so I sat behind Rob for a while. All right, so it is what it is. Horrible, whatever happened there. But so anyhow, this is what we looked at today. All right, so Qs were better today. They were 2-2 up, and they got up to the high of the month here today. All right, so next stop on the train is 533.83. But I think we know what the problem is. The question is, can we fix the problem? That's the problem. So listen, we got a really nice week holding up here. All right, so there you go. Triple Qs looking pretty good. Looks like it looks like it tried to firm up at the end of the day. All right, right now they're trading inside. I can show you what's going on in that overnight right now. There it is. So it kind of came back up. It's just continuation with the chop, as you can see. All right. So we'll see what that brings. All right. So, and then when we look at a couple of these stocks that were involved in there, XLK, XLK was good today, but it started with the 212, and it made a higher high, came back inside. It goes outside here, and then never got out again. Okay, so all of this is stuck inside there. So, in the big scheme of things, this is all a one because you're not getting outside this range. Okay, so that's XLK. You're stuck inside. Check it out. Overnight's 234.75 already starting to come back up. 234.75 is going to take up that right now on the overnight. All right, so there's your XLK getting a little bit stronger there. Apple, I just don't. I don't know. I don't know. It can't get month. I got an equilibrium in here. We got back inside here today, and boy, I tell you, got chased out immediately. All right, there's your month. Peaked in, came straight back down. It looks a little bit even better here on the daily if you see it. All right, came up on the daily, and it just fell right back inside. There's your doji, okay? That's a doji on the day, all right? But it's red, so it's bearish, okay? Know that. Know that, all right? It might be stuck in the middle, and you'll hear me say that a lot, that, when things are stuck in the middle, we stay away. But that's where we're at right now, okay? And then when I look up at our week, so we went up into the equilibrium and the same thing there. So 2-2 down with that 2-2 back up, that's sort of a reversal coming back inside here, all right? But until we get a higher high, we're not going anywhere. All right, so we're going to see what that brings in the next 2 days here. On the overnight right here, they're not doing what the other ones were doing here. We're coming back down a little bit, 211.90-ish. All right, so this overnight business, it's very there's not a lot of liquidity. If you're going to trade the overnights, you better be prepared for big moves that are going to, you're either going to be on the right side of it or it's going to be on the wrong side of it. And if you're on the wrong side of it, it ain't going to let you out. So I would be very careful with trading these on the overnight. And they wouldn't be able to get away with the things that they get away with during the day. All right, but anyhow, Apple, there you are. She's kind of stalled out. She's got 2 days to fix this problem. Otherwise, the week's going to go out flat. And this is where we're going to be, and we're not going to be even exposed to getting up to the lip of there about 219 to get to there so we can try to get back up here, because that's our magnitude right now. That's the month we're chasing. We're far off here, okay? We're pretty far off from 214 to 225. All right, so we're ways away there yet on Apple. All right, so again, comes into equilibrium and it backs off, so we'll see what tomorrow brings. Again, got 2 days to try to fix the problem, and we'll see what happens there. SMCI was in. I'm just going to go through SMCI real quick, and then I'm going to go through NVIDIA as well. So SMCI, big gapper upper, had a huge day yesterday. Okay, it with a gapper upper, another whatever percentage it was up another 6%. There you go. What's up? 15.7% to the upside. But I think a lot of that was about 7% on the gap. All right. So she moved up pretty good, but as you can see, she just kind of chopped out the rest of the day. Okay, so it's just like the same things what happens when a market when something gets beat down and it gets stuck pinned down, it takes a couple of days for it to shake out. The same kind of thing happened in here now. If you notice, the triangle just kept shrinking here. All right, so it was a 2-1-2, never made a higher high. Okay, if you want to look at it, just like I talked about earlier, on your cues, SMCI between this 60 and that 60, we never got outside of that. This is a 1. Everything's stuck inside with these 260s right there. Everything trapped inside. So in my mind, that's all a one to me. Overnight, trying to fight back a little bit. Got down to 44, 46. It's going to take a couple of days to figure this one out. All right. It's got the week is good. All right, because of this day, and that's that. So I don't see this week breaking by any stretch of the imagination. The question is, can this thing firm up and start to get back up to the highs? All right, so 46, 47. So this, I'm looking at the monthly now. All right, and the number we're hunting for right now is 48, 48. All right, if we get through there, then we're looking at 50, 48. All right, so on our magnitude right there, we'll be looking at about 48 bucks. All right, what's that high? 48 bucks, dead even. All right, 48. We got pretty close to there. Where did we get to today? We got to 46.62. So we're still a ways away out. All right, so looking at on the monthly, because that's where we're looking at it on the monthly and on your weekly. All right, so we'll see where this thing can start to get to. This would be our number, right? 50.61. All right, if we wanted to really try to triangle this thing out and get it back up, and then you got a legitimate shot at trying to go up there and get this one. That one's going to be a grabber from here too. I'd say that this one's going to be difficult to get back up here over a short term. You're probably going to have to triangle out a little bit and come back in and take another run at it. But I think that SMCI, that's where you are. Week's going to be good, and we'll see what this day brings here. You know, probably going to go inside. It looks like we're going to be going inside already, 44.70. All right, so we're going to be coming in open unless something crazy happens on overnight. I don't see that too much. NVIDIA, I traded it today. I made a little bit of money on NVIDIA when it was coming back out on this move. I can't remember which one it was exactly, but we ran into some exhaustion risk. I think this was the one here. All right, so it was the 212. All right, I didn't get in at the sweet spot, which would be right here, right because this NVIDIA came down and then it reversed and came up. That would be your entry point. And now it's not always going to be your entry point like that. All right, but there'll be times when that's appropriate. Okay, so you'd be putting in your order there to buy when it came back up, and then your stop would go down here. Again, how many shares do you want to trade? I can help you with all that stuff, especially if you're a new trader. We want to keep your risk to the downside because you just want to be learning this right now. You kind of want to be paper trading a lot in the beginning. If you come with me, I'm going to show you how to do it, and I'm going to show you how to learn the broadening formations and learning about all the actionable signals that we look for. All right, those are the things that we teach over here at Sepia Group. All right, so 2 up, and again the way Rob did it. So NVIDIA made the high here, never got outside another one, all ones inside here again. All right, so we're trapped inside here on NVIDIA. Okay, where's she trading at right now? What's our high? 135.46, 136.60. But you notice it came back inside. All right, so I don't really I count the overnight, but I put the curve in there because there is no liquidity, and if you got stock to buy or sell, there's not going to be much around, to show you an offer or to bid, to show you a bid on something. All right, so we'll see what happens there. I want to get to the bigger picture here. All right, so there's your NVIDIA trapped inside. That's all one inside. See what tomorrow brings. The bigger picture is what the hell is going on with the diamonds? Okay, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average. All right. What do we got going on here? All right. We took the month up. It's been creeping back in. It gets 212 back down today. after a 2-1 gapper up and a 2-1-2 back up, only to get to the 1 back inside to take you back down here. Okay, so where are we? We're inside. We're not moving anywhere. I wanted to make a point of this right off the bat, as everything is just stuck inside here. All right. Looks like these guys matched up maybe perfectly. 421.41 and 421.41, exactly to the penny. These two right here. That's all inside there. Okay. So here you just the 2-1, but in here you got the 2-1 ran up. So when you see this move up and then come down, okay, and then they come back up suddenly, they try to do it again, okay, it's typically telling you that sellers are in control. All right, these buyers get up and then boom, they exasperate. But at the end of the day, these are all positive, okay? These are still bullish, okay? And now this one's just a doji coming back down. That one, that's a little bearish, all right? That's coming down. That is an actionable, that's not an actionable signal. It's an outsider, so it engulfed again. So it took out everything from the previous bar, all right? So that's what a 3 is. When it takes out the higher high, it takes out the lower low of the previous bar. All right. So diamonds, there you go. Got the higher high here, but just matched up with this guy perfectly. So all right. So that's all a 1 inside there. And here you go. All right. So 1-1-1 to start. It doesn't really trade good on the overnight diamonds at all either, by the way, just so you know. They don't trade that great. A couple of things I want to make a point about. XLF, okay, financials, right? Tried to get going all day long. Boom, 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 boom. You see it, right? Tried to get going here, stumbled out, closed out, comes down, makes the big move down, comes back up. You're looking for some continuation to the upside. You got sort of a decent hammer. I don't like that hammer. Some people like that hammer. I like hammers that are up to the top and they're 33%. I'm kind of picky about my hammers. All right, so then you get the 2-2 back down, and then you get back inside and you stay there. And again, it tries to make the move and comes down, but it didn't turn red. That's telling you that you're still bullish. But when this comes down and that ends, that's telling you that that's bearish coming in. Look what's coming here now on XLF. It's already got 2-1-2-2 back down. All right. Low of the day, 50.79. We're getting close. All right. Now this is going to swing around overnight too. And regret it, there's no liquidity in there. So, but financials, okay. Sophie Bank, it fell apart on us today. Sophie fell apart on us today. All right. Look at outside. So it engulfed. It took out yesterday's highs. It took out yesterday's lows. That's why it's a 3. You can't be bigger than a 3. And that's just the way it is. There's 1s, 2s, and 3s. You can't get bigger than a 3. All right. She's coming down with a shooter. Okay. That is a shooter down. Even though it's got the wick, that's shooter down. All right. So yesterday's lows were 1391. Let's get that real number here. 1394. So 1394. Trading 1405 right now in the overnight. So in order for this to do its job, it would need to take this shooter down would need to go into force, and the only way that could happen is if it took another shooter coming back down or just a break down to the other side. Okay, so then we'd be hunting for that next number, 1366. Okay, you might not get that. You might get close. It's either gonna hit it or it's going to make a lower low. Now, if it comes back inside and it stays inside right off the bat, then you could be a 1, and you could stay in 1 all day, and then you know that after a 1, things can change, okay? Ones create change. Sometimes you can get 3 ones in a row and they won't do anything, but the one should create some kind of change. All right, so this is going to come back inside more likely from the way it looks right now at 1405. It's going to be right in here somewhere, and that's just looking at it right now. It's going to trade all night. All right, I think they shut it down for a while, then it kicks on again at 8 o'clock at night, so you can kind of watch. All right, but you're not going to see too much SoFi trade on overnight. You might some like here at the end of the day because there's still some trading going on. Market makers needing to get out of positions and stuff like that, so there might be something like that. We didn't have after markets when I was on the Chicago Stock Exchange, but we did have guys that would make markets on after markets. So we would do stuff like that. But that would be if a customer got stuck with a trade or something and he wanted to get out because he didn't want to hold a position overnight. That would be the only reason that we would do that. All right, SoFi bat down. All right, there you go. It's a good example. You got now that took the month down. Okay, had the month up. Now it's back inside. All right, still holding pretty good. You got 2 days to fix this week, and this is not looking great. Okay, you got a shooter doji down, and that is negative. That if that doesn't get any better, what we would look for is we would look for a pivot, and we would see what are they going to do here? What are they going to do with them? All right, you'd be looking for something like this to triangle back down. That's where we'd be looking like that would be our new triangle. If this can't get going here and we come back inside this one, all right, then we just watch and see. And if it comes down and hits our number, because that's where I would go to right now, all right, that would be our triangle. That would be our new triangle coming back down. So we would triangle all that out and back down to $12. I don't see that happening. All right, I think we just stalled out today. All right, and it's all because of diamonds. And the reason why I'm talking more about diamonds is because they are the ones that are important. They're the ones that move the markets around. A lot of people will argue with me, but they can argue with me all they want. Dow Jones Industrial Average kind of runs the show for me. All right, and then what else? We looked at Robinhood, right? Started great, came out like a hero. Right, ran up real nice, got all the way up to 63.78, made a new high on the month, okay? And then that's it. That's the rest of your day right there. All right, came back in all the way back down to 61.11. 61, is that 61.11? Is that right? 61.09-ish. So we actually came in 61.09. All right, you get the picture. All right, so 61.09. So coming off of that high that we made today, which is 63.79. And there's your 63.79 right there. Okay, right there, 63.78. Okay, so there's your Robinhood. Nice push up, right? Goes outside, gives you the one inside, just doji. It's still positive, and then the 2 comes down and breaks it. All right, so in instances like this, when we look for things that break and reverse, especially coming off of a high, this is a shooter coming down. Okay. That's up at the top of the broadening formation. All right, that's your high right now, but this is up near your. So we look for these shooters that get created like that come back down. All right, so then the one gets in here, sends a mixed signal. Looks like it's gonna go. Looks like it's gonna break, but then it just stays inside. Boom, clicks in there. And then you get the 2 move down, and then she was done the rest of the day. She couldn't do anything. She turned into chop mode the rest of the day. She finishes with the outsider, 61.17, coming back down right now. All right, so she's going to be sitting around yesterday's lows. Making this big move like it did, going to be difficult to get back up in there. All right, probably going to need some more triangling and out. All right, there's your shooter. That's how your day ends up being inside. Your week takes a hit Now you're stuck in the middle, but you still got 2 days left. So we wait and see what's going to do. What you're going to take a 2 down? You're going to blow the whole week? That's what we look for. We're looking for how's this week going to end? Is this 2-2 going to come back down tomorrow with that shooter down that we talked about earlier? It could go into force. Boom, boom. We don't know where it can go, but what we know is that if that goes into force and starts to take down, this starts to become your target. Okay? Might not get it. You might only get here, you might only get there, and then it might reverse and come back up. But how are we going to finish this week? If it doesn't do anything like it could do the rest of the next 2 days and not really even get outside of this bar or that, we could stay stuck in here for the rest of the week in 2 days. That's a very good likelihood if the markets continue to do what they did today. All right, but there's Robinhood. There you go. All right, I'm not going to talk about too many of those. XRT is retail. It's been a good group. All right, nice month up right off the bat, right? Retail, been pretty good. The days are chop here, man. All right, this was horrible. We had a nice 2-2, and we had a gapper up. We had a gapper bell for a red bar. That's a big-time reversal coming back up. And then yesterday, she just comes inside and doesn't do anything. I mean, the only reason she's a 2 is because she made a higher high, but she didn't engulf. She could have, but she didn't because she, sputtered out here. So now here we are with a doji. It is positive, okay? It is bullish. This doji right here, it is bullish. That should pivot and get back up. But diamonds are horrible right now. So we're going to have to definitely wait and see. XRT coming right back up on the overnight now, 75.20. I don't know what's going on there. See what I'm saying? Somebody's pushing this thing. All right. So what, 75.14 right now? All right. So they're going to push them around kind of easily there. 75.14 we didn't even get to all day. All right. Just kind of ignore that because it just is what it is. I don't see that happen unless we really do start moving up on the overnights and watching the SPY. And I will be watching that. All right. So 3-2 upper. That was nice on the XRT. All right. We were in XRT. I was in it from the previous day. Right. I got kind of stuck in this one yesterday. Decided to stay in. Obviously, it went against me again. But then she finally got some. She came up to help right away in the morning. All right, came up. She puked down and came back up. That is where the reversal happens right there. They drove the stock all the way down. She hammered back up. That's a horrible hammer. I don't like it. But at the end of the day, they really did sell them down, and they reversed them, and then look at what happened. You got the 2-2 back up. All right, they came in, they tried to do it again, failed, and then you got the 3-2 up, right? And then there's that shooter again that we talk about that can create change. Now, there's no actionable signals in here. So for me personally, I would not be looking to sell this thing breaking down here. Because number one, I don't have any actionable signals, no ones inside to assist me, and I just wouldn't do it. Okay, some people would. Some people will get in there and try to get in there again, but there's nothing there for me to see. It did make a nicer move. And then if you look at the end of the day, everything got trapped inside again, just like we talked about earlier. This is all one. Don't worry about that. I don't even know if that trades. All right, overnights. XRT. So that's a lot. Giving you a lot of information here. All right, so coming into tomorrow, expect probably more of the same. I really do think so. I think tomorrow we could just stall out the rest of this week. We do have some retail numbers coming tomorrow, so we will see if anything triggers there. We got retail numbers. We got I think we got Powell talking tomorrow a little bit too. No decision making, but I think he's going to be doing some talking. So we'll see. They're going to talk about rates, and we're watching the 10 years over here. They're 4.53. Our 10 years are moving up right now. All right, so they've been dumping these 10s, and the yields are popping. All right, so we're starting to see some higher rates on the 10 years, and then we're starting to see some of the 20 years start dropping. And if you don't know those symbols, then you just look at it here, 10Y. I'm on Thinkorswim, so. There you go on your 10-year today. All right, yields have been going up. They're selling the bonds. The yields are going up. Okay, so yields are going higher. Okay, rates are going higher. So that's something to pay attention to, and it's also something to pay attention to is the dollar, DXY, which the guy in the big White House wants this to go lower. Okay. This guy, he wants this dollar to go lower. All right, so dollar high gets tighter. Markets are going to act better if the dollars are coming down. So we'll see. All right, this has made a pretty decent move here today on the dollar to the upside, and even the VIX tried to wake up a little bit today. All right, we got that thing back into the hole at $18. And look at it's fighting back. All right, ran up again on the overnight here, back up to 1876. So we really took this thing away, and the bear is sticking its head out again. All right, so this is your CBOE market volatility. It measures basically depth in the market. When the markets go up, the VIX goes down, and when the market goes down, the VIX goes up. So you see the big move that we had with that drop, and there's your VIX now. All right, so we got the bear down here sitting around 1862, but watch out. The bear could show up again. I think he's tucked away pretty good. I think if you're above 20, I think you're in a nervous area. 20, 22, I think, the VIX is going to be a little bit more agitating for the markets. $18, I think we can live with an $18 VIX, but it's a little bit of a threat. That's all I can really say about that. All right, so I'm going to leave it there. We went through a lot, and we'll see what happens. All right, we'll see what tomorrow brings. We got 2 days left. We stalled out completely today. And from the way I look at it on the overnight here, it looks like we might just have more of the same. This week could just sputter out and call it a week. We'll see. I think we got, what's today? Today's the 14th, is that right? Okay. So we got Friday's the 16th. We'll see. We're going to be right smack dab in the middle of the week and in the middle of the month. And that month are all up. A lot of our months are up. All right. So it's all about keeping those months up right now and trying to keep these weeks to keep feeding that month. That's what we're looking to do. All right. So everybody have a wonderful evening and be good. Be good.